Welcome back to Tutorial Tidbits and welcome to my channel. I'm Elizabeth St. Hilaire and this week I have been having fun with feathers, peacock feathers to be precise. So whoever knew that there could be so much fun with feathers and on the gel plate of all things. So if you've got a few minutes, let's go check it out. Welcome back to the studio. Today I continue to be inspired by the colors and shapes of peacocks. The peacock was a motif that was very popular with Art Nouveau in the late 1890s, early 1900s. It is an art movement that really appeals to me because of the curvilinear lines and the swirling patterns. And the peacock was an image that was often painted by artists in that era. So I also love the color palette of the greens and the teals and the blues. So today I'm going to show you how to create a fun peacock print by incorporating some actual peacock feathers in with my Planet Peacock stencil. Now, if you don't have access to an actual peacock, you're in luck. You can get these feathers on Amazon. You can get everything on Amazon. And the link for them is going to be below the video in the description box, along with the links to all of the other supplies that I use in the video. Okay, so the colors that I'm using are Titan Green Pale, Golden Fluid Acrylic, Jenkins Green, and Teal. I'm also using my 9x11 Dino Wakley gel plate, and I am working on a 9x12 pad of Japanese rice sketch paper. This pad of paper is wonderful because the Japanese rice paper is highly durable. It'll take lots of layers of gel printing and water and paint and etc. But it's flexible enough that it will really press down in between the fine feathers of the peacock feather. So we're going to be working on the smooth side. The smoother side is going to pull more paint off the plate. And so that side is going to go down on the plate. And then I'm also working with my new Planet Peacock stencil design for Joggles. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take my Titan Green Pale and I'm going to make myself a base sheet. You know, I always like to work on a light colored solid. So I am going to be working on this light color. It's a real nice, slightly green, opaque color. It's just got a little bit of a green hint of green to it, which is nice. And I'm going to put that smooth side down. And the importance of the 9x11 plate is that with the 9x12 rice paper pad, you are filling up the most of the plate of the paper that you can, rather than having an inch of white around both edges. Also, the mask, the stencil, is also 9x12. So we want to fill the page as much as we can with the stencil and the big gel plate and the paper. So the 9x11 plate, the 9x12 stencil, and paper. Okay, so we have a really nice Titan green pale sheet, and that's going to be our base layer. So the next step is to do something kind of fun. I'm going to put the stencil down on a clean plate. I'm going to put the stencil down on a clean plate. No paint. Then I'm going to take that teal and I'm going to spread it on top of the stencil. And I'm going to brayer it through the stencil onto the plate. Whoops. This is going to give us a unique effect, hopefully. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to lift, and I'll be left with the pattern of the Peacock Planet stencil. And I'm going to let that dry for a minute before I put Jenkins Green over the top. So we want to make sure this is dry. It's pretty warm out here. And it's acrylic paint, so it does dry fast. But, you know, if you need to walk away, check your email, get a drink, and come back, you want to make sure that this is dry. So it doesn't take long, but we want to make sure that it's totally dry. Okay, that should be good. So the next step then is to take the Jenkins green and put it over the top. And I'm going to come back in with a new brayer that I know doesn't have the teal in it. So I'm using 2 brayers. That way I don't have to clean them in between. And I know that I'm not going to have any teal in this brayer. So I've got my Jenkins green spread out over the whole plate. And now I'm going to put my peacock feathers in. And I'm going to put them on a diagonal so that I can get as much of them as included as possible. Just like that. And then we're going to take that Titan green solid sheet and we're going to lay it on top and print. So what this does in brayering that teal through the stencil is that the pattern is not going to go all the way down and under and in between these feathers. So we're going to get sort of a green halo around the feathers because we're not working on top of a full pattern sheet. At least I hope that's what we're going to get. So I'm going to run my fingers along the edge of the stems of the feathers, and then I'm going to make sure I have good pressure. And before I pull it up, just like I do with my stencils, I'm going to peek and make sure if I need to apply a little bit more pressure. Awesome. This is looking amazing. And there you go. So you'll see this beautiful print. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So the teal pattern does not go all the way down in between here in the dark of the Jenkins green because it's not over the whole sheet. So that is the benefit of brayering the teal through the peacock, the Planet Peacock stencil. And then you get this nice dark green without that pattern in it, which really makes these stand out nicely. So, and then I've got these wild, funky ghost prints left. And I've got another sheet of the Titan green pale here. And I could print the ghost print onto this. So that's kind of fun to transfer it to another sheet as a ghost print. But really what I'm in love with is this. So this is a super cool effect with the stencil and peacock feathers and some great golden fluid acrylic colors in your gel plate. So I would like to try this with a different combination. I think this is my favorite, but I've been working out here this morning. So I have to let you know that you have been watching me gel print paper for years, maybe some of you not that long, but I often get people who ask me, what do you do with all those gel prints? Well, last week or a couple of weeks ago, I showed you how I use the gel prints to create my collages. Another thing that I do with my gel prints is I actually sell a paper of the month, 6-month subscription. It's available on my website. You can go there and sign up. It will start in November and go for 6 months. You will receive in the mail hand-painted papers by me. Some of them maybe even ones that you've watched me make right here on YouTube. So check out my website. The link is in the description box below, or you can go to paperpaintings.com/shop. And the Paper of the Month Club is limited to only 20 people. So if you're interested, don't delay because I can only make so much paper. And so I'm going to start again on the Titan green pale. That base layer. Oh, need a little bit more paint there. Okay, and we're going to put that solid down here. Now, one thing about the peacock feathers is after you use them several times, they get a little caked up with paint and they don't curl and twist and swirl so nicely. So the package that comes from Amazon has got a bunch of them in there. So it's good to have the extras because you can only make so many prints with them before you need to retire them because they're just not working as well as they did. Whoops, left it on too long. Okay. So here's a little bit of ghost printing in my Titan green pail from the previous print, but I like that. So I'm going to start with this as my base layer. And then I am going to, again, put the teal paint through the Planet Peacock stencil by putting it on top. The other thing is, if you don't want to put it on top, is that you can roll your brayer onto a separate gel plate and load it with the paint and then brayer over it. That probably is going to eliminate some of the little blobs that I get where I squeeze the paint heavier on the plate. So if you want to roll your brayer off to the side and load it with the teal on a separate gel plate and then bring the painty brayer over here, you'll get probably a better impression of the pattern. I don't mind the inconsistency of stuff like that, but here we go. So I'm just saying it's seeped under the stencil a little bit there because of the paint application. It doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, that's how to counteract that. Okay, so now I've got that solid pattern, and this time I'm going to add the Jenkins green. I'm going to make sure this is dry. Okay, I'm going to put the Jenkins green over the top, and I'm going to spread that out. Whoops, I grabbed the brayer with the teal in it. Well, that's okay. You can see it affects the green because there was a little teal left in the brayer. Now, this time I'm not going to do the feathers. I'm just going to print this first as a solid. And pull. And there I have a really nice soft version of the Planet Peacock stencil on the with the Jenkins green and the teal. It's a nice soft version because of the way that I brayered the paint through it. It would be more crisp and graphic if I had printed it as I traditionally do. So I'm appreciating this painterly softness of it. And then the next effect I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with a darker blue, and this is the Phthalo Blue Red shade. I'm going to put that on the plate, and then I'm going to add the feathers. So I'm going to swirl that around, roll that out. That's a nice medium to dark blue, but still transparent actually. So we're going to be able to see this pattern through that blue. And then I'm going to come in and add the peacock feathers again on the diagonal. Let's see if we can pull these out a little bit. We definitely want to have the feathers kind of curving. There we go. And now I'm going to take this print and put that on top of the dark blue with the feathers. And again, I'm going to take my fingers and run them along the feather. And I'm going to apply a lot of pressure. And then I'm going to have a look at it and see if I need to apply more pressure to get more paint out from in between the feathers, because I want real thin feathery lines here. Oh my goodness, look at that detail. It's beautiful. So there you have another version where we have that beautiful Planet Peacock pattern showing through the feathers as well as showing through that blue. So it's subtle in the background through the blue, and it's brilliant through the openings of the feathers. You can see it showing through here in the blue. So look at that. We've got two different versions here of what you can do with the Planet Peacock stencil and some peacock feathers. So these are so beautiful. And then the next thing, last thing, is I've got these ghost prints. So I'm going to see if those will transfer onto this previous cleanup sheet. Yes, so there I've got another set of feathers. So I've got the ghost printed feathers and the two versions of Planet Peacock with peacock feathers. Congratulations and thank you for staying until the end. I appreciate you and I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube or to my newsletter blog thingy. And then you'll get these emails on Fridays and you won't even have to think about coming to YouTube. So anyway, happy Friday and I'll see you back here next week.